welcome to the Music Bar Podcast. And this is episode 45, and it's the last one for 2022. As you can see, it's just me today, no Dan. Unfortunately, Dan has been quite sick with COVID. He actually went to hospital. He's now out of hospital, and he had his birthday recently as well. So I'm glad you're doing better, buddy. Happy birthday for you the other day. We know we'll be back again next year together, so I look forward to those days again starting. But have a safe Christmas, Dan, and feel better soon. Now, on to the podcast. I just want to say we're going to talk about nothing new, really. Just touch base on a few things that happened during the year, which kind of made the biggest news. And sadly, I think the first thing that kind of hit home for me was the Taylor Hawkins passing. That was pretty shocking to most people. Again, suddenly, like a lot of people at the moment are just passing away suddenly from issues. So Taylor Hawkins, the thing about that was everyone banded together in the UK and in LA and, had these massive big tribute shows, which we've discussed in the past on the podcast. But I was really taken back by the fact that so many people from all different genres of music wanted to go and pay tribute to Taylor Hawkins. So, again, I still wish they did that same kind of thing for Eddie Van Halen. But Taylor Hawkins deserved it, and they did it really, really well. Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, they just know how to really put things together where the timing is right. And so, yeah, it was really, really good. So Taylor Hawkins obviously passed away. And there was a few others, but for me, Taylor Hawkins was the main one for me this year. Other news for me, as you know, I went and saw Guns N' Roses play in Brisbane about a month ago or so. After Dan and I spoke about all these singers like John Bon Jovi, Joe Elliott, Vince Neil from Motley Crue, all not singing very well, it's really quite surprising to hear Axl Rose, see him live, sing as well as he did. Now, I had seen footage of him singing earlier during the year, and I was a bit hesitant about buying tickets because of that. But I gave him I just thought about it, went, well, he's playing then, he'll probably get better, and I believe he nailed it. He did such a great job singing those songs live. I was really happy that I went to the concert and to see Guns N' Roses for the very first time. I've seen Slash before, but yeah, to see Axl and those songs played with at least three of the original members, it's pretty amazing for me to see finally. And I liked it so much, I was going to go to the Gold Coast show 2 days later, but in the end, I decided not to. But the sad thing about that was I sat that night watching YouTube and watching Guns N' Roses, so I should have just gone. So, yeah, anyway, it was a really great concert. I'm really pleased I went and saw Guns N' Roses. The fact they came here and did such a phenomenal show, credit to them. And I will definitely go see them again if they have a tour or if I'm in the area wherever they are playing. Who knows? But, yeah, that was a great thing for this year, and won't regret that one. The other news that I want to talk about too that we've spoken about and we've discussed quite a bit on here is the Pantera reunion, to a point, tribute, I guess you could call it. When I first heard about this, I said to Dan on our podcast that the main thing for me is I don't really care in a nutshell who plays guitar, who plays the drums. The thing for me is music has not been played for such a long time, and there's a whole new generation now who don't really know Pantera. I was lucky enough to go see Pantera in Melbourne back in the day on the Far Beyond Driven tour, and was also lucky enough that I happened to be in the city, walking to a record bar, and they were there signing merchandise. So it was all a fluke, but I bought the Far Beyond Driven album while I was there again. I got 2 copies of it, and that one there got signed by all 4 of the original members. So that's still in my house. I'll never get rid of it. But to be able to go and hear that music live again, it's a credit to them finally thinking about it and going, right, now's the right time. It has been a long time since Dime passed away and a few years now since Vinny. Um, I think Charlie's a great drummer. I think he plays the music as well as anybody can, so that's no problem there. Zakk Wylde, for the other hand, I still believe he only got it really. He got the gig because he's mates with them. But I have said in the past too that I just don't think his style of playing would match Dime's. And listening to the rhythm of these songs that are now coming out on YouTube, you can watch them from the concerts. I'm actually really surprised how good his rhythm playing is for the Pantera songs. His solos, yeah, they do the job. And if I was there standing there watching Zakk play the solos for Pantera songs, I would definitely walk away happy. To hear it, to me, is more so now the voice, and Phil, I think, is going to get better with time. I have seen a few songs like Mouthful War, which is one of my favorite songs. He sang it really, really well. This Love was a little bit, not really sure how he's going on the quieter singing verses, but I think they didn't rehearse a lot when they first talked about this. So the fact they're kind of playing on these festivals and headlining shows and stuff, I think they will get better and his voice will get better. But again, I'm just happy, and I've said it before, to see the word Pantera up in lights again, and a whole new generation will go, what the hell is this? How good is this? So credit to them. That's probably for me one of the best things about the year, the news of Pantera coming out. And if all things go well, I'll get to see them next year in Los Angeles, because a few weeks ago, Metallica dropped a new single called Lux Eterna. They announced on the same day a world tour called No Repeat Weekend, and they have released the date for a new album, which is the 14th of April. And the album's called 72 Seasons. And the whole No Repeat Weekend, I thought was a really cool idea. You buy one ticket, you get 2 nights, and both nights are completely different set lists. So this is the first time I've ever heard any band do this. And they're playing next year and the year after, but still no dates until probably 2025 then for Australia. So I decided I wanted to go and see them in the States, because the opening acts, 2 different opening acts each night. The first night in Los Angeles is going to be Pantera and Wolfgang Van Halen's band Mammoth. And I want to see both of them. And I want to see Pantera because I don't know how long they'll be able to do what they're doing. I don't know if they're going to make it to 2025, singing-wise, voice-wise, and, Zakk and everybody doing their own things and their own bands. They might just do these 2 tours and that's it. So I want to go see them in LA next year in August to see Metallica, obviously, and I want to see Pantera and Wolfgang's band and be part of that. So I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to go next year for that. And I can't wait for the new album to be released, 72 Seasons, next year. Lux Eterna is 3 minutes and 40 seconds of just pure greatness. I'm biased. People say, yeah, there's a lot of Metallica songs I don't really like, but this song here just kicks ass from beginning to end. And I have listened to it over 100, probably 200 times. I love it. I love the solo. I love everything about it, the sound. I love the look of the album cover. I love how bright it is. They're talking about lights that make the album bright, which I thought was really different to every other album I've done, except for the Black Album, completely dark. They've gone the opposite direction. So it's a bit of change in their personal thinking as well. And so looking forward to this album coming out in April. And that's going to be a great thing for 2023. So yeah, Metallica's new song, Lux Eterna, have a listen to it, and then start buying or pre-ordering all your albums to arrive in the mail when they can. Next year also, Motley Crue have announced they will be touring Australia next year with Def Leppard, which are doing at the moment, or they will be doing just after Christmas in UK. This is a tour that we have discussed also about the fact that Mick Mars is no longer touring. John Five's taken over that role. So John Five, if you watch the show, you'll see that I've been postponed on the John Five solo tour here in Brisbane about 4 times, and now they've cancelled it and refunded the money because he's now joining the Motley Crue tour. So hopefully, when he comes out over here with Motley Crue, he might do a sideshow, which would be great. I like to see him play his music, but out of all the guitar players they could pick to replace Mick, I don't think there's any better, to be honest. He does every style of music John Five does. You watch him on Instagram, he'll sit in his lounge room and he'll just sit there and play all these different songs and different styles. And now he's showing you already the songs he's playing for Motley Crue in the future. And they're on point. There's nothing wrong with them. So there won't be any disagreement there from me. I wish he was actually the Pantera player. But yeah, no. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, Motley Crue, Def Leppard headlining together with Alice Cooper. Now, Alice Cooper obviously used to have a guitar player called Nita Strauss in her band, which she left a while back and went and toured with Demi Lovato. I know she has said that there's always a chance she'll go back to Alice Cooper. So if she does, because the Demi Lovato album tour is now finished or close to being finished, she might go back to Alice Cooper, which means she could be in the band when they come here next year, which could mean she does some guitar clinics here in Brisbane, which I know she's done before, and maybe even a solo concert performance, because she does have an album of her own and she does tour around with her own band. So you never know. It'd be great if she did. Her album and her music on her first album is phenomenal. So that'd be really great. But if not, yeah, we'll see what happens. Slipknot. They released an album this year, The End So Far, and they are touring next year as well. They're coming over with, they're coming over with Knotfest and bringing a bunch of bands with them. It's their own festival, and I most likely won't be going to it because I don't normally go to festivals. I don't like paying a lot of money to see one band when it's, I'm not interested in seeing all the other ones. I don't think I'll go to it, but a bit disappointing. I wish I did a tour of their own. But the album, The End So Far, I hadn't heard it for a while, and Dan was saying how good it was. And Dan was actually the one who said to me that Jim Root, the guitar player, or one of the guitar players out of the band, he's always been one of the main writers, which is true for all the Slipknot albums, and he had nothing to do with this one. So that was a bit of a shock to me to hear that. And I was a bit concerned about what I was going to hear because I know how good he is at writing. To not have any influence over those songs at all, I was a bit worried. But I gave it a listen, and honestly, what a great album that was. It is. It blew me away. It's so different to what I would think Slipknot would do. So to hear the opening track, which is called Adderall, which is like a ballad for Slipknot, and I love that song. I have listened to it on repeat for over an hour or so, and I go to bed with headphones in sometimes listening to this song. It's just such a different avenue than what I've taken before. But yes, there's still Slipknot heavy stuff on it, don't worry. But to hear this, kind of like, wow, this is really amazing. And I like it when bands do a bit of a change up. I'm not angry at people or bands when they go and do like what Metallica did with the Black Album and then load and reload. I find that as an artist, they would probably get bored doing Justice for All the time, just like Slipknot will probably get bored doing what they do all the time the same. So it shows their creativeness. It shows they're probably expanding their musical taste themselves. Who knows? But this album, go listen to it. It's actually a really, really good album. And yes, it has got screaming in it. But if you know Slipknot, you're going to have screaming, but you've got some quiet music as well, some ballady kind of things. So yeah, listen to that. Megadeth, I was looking forward to Megadeth releasing the album this year. And unfortunately, I like thrash metal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a big Megadeth fan. There's a couple of albums they've released in the past, which I do love and own, and I listen to quite a lot. But honestly, when this album came out, I couldn't wait for it because we hadn't had anything from Metallica for a while. I'm not a Slayer fan at all, so I don't really, don't play anymore anyway. So to hear Megadeth releasing the album, I was like, yes, come on, hopefully I like it. And I've been disappointed in everything I've heard. Sadly, it's the songs to me are just messy. They released a new song the other day with a new video clip, and the video clips they're doing are all like like a story. And watching these video clips, it's like watching uni students or even worse, college students recording or directing videos for a band. They are so amateurish, I can't sit and watch the videos. So I have to listen to music by itself, um, which is really disappointing because they have the money to do whatever they want to do. But for some reason, they've just chosen, I think, the wrong director, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. But to me, the video clips are really pathetic and boring and amateurish. And the songs are just, like I said, unfortunately, they're just messy to me. They don't have any, um, like, yeah, no, what's the word for it? Soul. I don't know. Anyway, disappointing for me with Megadeth. Um, so yeah, that's the main news I heard about. Obviously, we've lost Taylor Hawkins and we lost a few other people like Olivia Newton-John, which we talked about, Australian. So we've got to mention her as well. But for me, yeah, Taylor Hawkins, Olivia Newton-John to me was an amazing female artist from Australia who made it big in America, obviously in the movies, and captured the world and kind of put Australia on the map. And I know mates of mine when I was a kid had pictures of her in their locker, you know. She was phenomenal in that way. So, yes, she didn't live here anymore, but she's always going to be the Australian, represent Australia. She was, in a way, like a bit like our Princess Di, I guess you could say. But anyway, that's enough about Olivia Newton-John. RIP for her and Taylor Hawkins. Now, album of the year for me. Now, I went through a bunch of albums that were released this year. Some of them were quite a surprise to me, and some of them, like Megadeth, wasn't. Well, yeah, sadly. But I've got a list of songs, albums here. I'm not going to touch base on too many the songs in particular off these albums, just the album in general. So, Ghost. It's the first time I've ever really listened to Ghost. They brought an album out called Impera, and that surprised me. That is on my turntable all the time. I love this album. So, the guy Toby, who sings and writes all that music and everything, he's just phenomenal. He's such a great musician. So, yeah, have a listen to Ghost. Slash released a new album called Four, and obviously it has Miles Kennedy singing for him. And I've listened to the album a couple of times. Again, I've mentioned before too that the voice of Miles Kennedy doesn't grab me. I can't listen to him for very long. But the guitar playing, as we all know, Slash is one of the greatest. And his guitar playing is phenomenal. So if you can just kind of like tune out to the singing and listen to it and make it into an instrumental in your mind, you won't be disappointed. I would actually love to have that album with no singing on it. So yeah, Slash, Four, it's a really good album. Kirk Hammett from Metallica released a solo album, instrumental only, called Portals. It's only 4 songs, but it is really, really good. I love this album. It's one of the best albums of the year for my liking, my opinion. I can listen to this album any day of the week because it is instrumental. No matter what mood you're in, going to sleep, whatever it is, in your bedroom, reading, that's great background music as well. It takes you on such a great journey, all those 4 songs. So, yeah, have a listen to Kirk Hammett's Portals. I've already mentioned Slipknot, The End so far. Another band from the UK, another album, they're Porcupine Tree. They released an album called Closure and Continuation. Have a listen to this. Go back and listen to Deadwing, an album they released as well. But yeah, Porcupine Tree, great album. Obviously, Ozzy Osbourne released an album called Patient Number 9. Again, Ozzy doesn't do anything bad. it's a really good album. Probably not my favorite, but it is actually a very good album. And yeah, Alter Bridge released a new album again. Slash, great. Miles Kennedy's voice, but have a listen to it, see what you think. And a band I like called Nothing More, they released an album called Spirits. Johnny Hawkins is such a great frontman. Go watch their YouTube channel and watch him live. He's just phenomenal. And they're really, really good. So Nothing More, Spirits. But my pick of those today for the year would be Ghost as an album with singing, and Kirk Hammett's instrumental album Portals. Those two albums to me are the best of the year for me. But that's pretty much it. I just want to touch base on a few thank yous. Episode 30, we had a fellow join us on our show called Corey Blight, a friend of mine from way back, and a band member from way back with me. He came on and he was our very first guest. So thank you, Corey, for doing that back then. I will hopefully have you on again in the new year. It's always good to discuss music and what's happening around the world with different people, not just Dan and myself. So yeah, thank you, Corey, for coming on. Thanks to Jim, a viewer. He sent in a vinyl record of Billy Joel, Stormfront. And if you've seen the last couple of episodes of Dan's last episode of Get On It, you'll see he sent the Billy Joel album in because he wanted Dan to do a Get On It on that album because he knows Dan does not like Billy Joel. And he did. So he did that, and that was a bit of fun for us. That's also created a new segment, which is not really a new one. It's just Don't Get On It instead of Get On It. So bit of fun. Thank you, Jim, for sending that in. Really appreciate it. But also a huge thanks to a mate of mine down in Tasmania called Pete. He is constantly sharing our podcasts to people in his network. That's how we grow. We only need one every now and then to add up to the subscription we want. So thank you, Pete, for doing that. We do appreciate it. Not that we say it all the time, but we really do appreciate the fact that you do what you do by sending our name out there into the internet world. So to all three of you, Corey, Jim, and Pete, thank you for everything and following us. Have a safe Christmas to you guys too, and be safe and well. And at the moment, YouTube subscribers, we finished on 51 for the year. 238 followers of Facebook and 62 on Instagram. So thank you to all those people who have followed us and liked our content and commented on different things here and there. We do appreciate all of you. We need to work out how we'll get these 238 followers from Facebook over to subscribe on YouTube, but that's another story. We'll do that again next year, work out some kind of thing. So yeah, but yeah, thank you to everybody. And now we're going to sign off. So it is the end of the year. It's Christmas tomorrow. New Year's very shortly as well. So please, everybody, stay safe. Nothing worse than losing family members. I lost my mother this year in September. Biggest heartache of all. So tell your family you love them and surround yourself with people who make you laugh and smile, because laughter is the best medicine. But yeah, signing off to all of you for the year. I know Dan wishes he could be here too, so he would say the same thing. Be safe and have a great Christmas and New Year, and we'll see you again next year. But cheers to you all. I'm going to drink my little apple juice popper. That's what kids do, or maybe toddlers. So yeah, have a great Christmas. Have a great year, New Year. See you next year. We'll start advertising when we're coming back on Instagram, which will go to Facebook, and then you'll see Dan and I back together again. Rock on.